Hello everyone, Mr. Nobody here, just bringing you another installment of Making Nobody Happy. And our topic today is why did the Afghan war fail? The war in Afghanistan. Now, I in no way pretend to be a military expert in any slightest way. I live in a very military town. There are many people who have all kinds of opinions on the subject around here. Some of those people who I know have extremely personal opinions because they invested a lot into this war. I'm not doing that. I'm not coming to this at all as someone with insight from the military side of things. I just want to provide some of my thoughts from the philosophical side. So, on one reason why I think the Afghanistan war failed. So, one massive reason the Afghanistan war failed is cultural. Now it doesn't matter how many bad men you stop if you don't raise up good men in their place. Bad men will always be there, and other men have to be there to resist them, or your cause will fail. Now, I don't mean to be placing the burden of blame or responsibility on men specifically as a group. But as a structural fact, in this area, it does lie on them. There is a burden of responsibility, and it can be discharged negatively or positively. Men have strength, they have aggression, they have a willingness to fight and a willingness to die. And part of their burden in life is learning what to do with that part of them. And if you're thinking that what we should really do is eradicate it or suppress it, that's a genocidal thought. Men are meant to exist, and they're meant to be men. And you can't eliminate them chemically or psychologically or socially castrate them out of being men. That's half of the species. That's half of what it means to be human. You don't get to decide that it doesn't need to exist. So men are a problem, partly because men are highly variable and unstable. They occupy the highest positions on the distribution of outcomes, social, economic, genetic, physical, and they also occupy the lowest positions. They're both the most and least capable and the best and worst off. And there are good reasons why they're this way. And they're so deeply embedded in our biogenetic natures and in the depth of time itself, in the structure of life and in its responses to reality, that they aren't easily separated from the very nature of our species and of life itself. So, men are a problem. They're a problem with two main solutions. The first solution is women. Women regulate men actively during their lives, especially when they're in intimate, dynamic, interactive relationships with them. Women make demands on them, they set conditions, they share concerns, they offer counter perspectives. They didn't work very well in Afghanistan because Afghan culture limited the effectiveness of this positive influence in many ways. And so solving that problem was beyond the scope or powers of the American military presence, at least without spending decades there and engaging in lots of cultural change. So women also engage in sexual selection, which also has a massive effect on what men are and how they behave and who they become. Men want to please and impress and be found acceptable and admirable by women. They want to be chosen. They'll practically kill themselves to get noticed. And after having been noticed, they will kill themselves to protect what they have secured, their mates and their children and society. And that leads us to the second solution for the problem of dangerous bad men. Dangerous good men, dangerous other men. Afghanistan failed because the good men were never created to resist the bad, to protect and lay down their lives for their wives and children. Someone had to do that job. Someone had to wield strength in the service of love. And America made the mistake of thinking that they had that in the Afghan army. Years of training, billions of dollars. They thought they could just artificially create it with funding and equipment. But they never reached the culture. They never created a new generation of men who are as passionate to defend their freedom and their homes as other men in the culture were to take it. And so Afghanistan fell the moment that America left. The army just stood down. They collapsed. They didn't even fight. The Taliban conquered the country in days, and people were left, what happened and why? So humanity is more than a mere political structure. It's more than training and equipment. When the time comes and the enemy is at the door, what will give you the strength to stand and fight, to die? You have to have a cause, a meaning, something that your heart pursues more strongly than it pursues the continuation of your own breath. America didn't have the ability to give that to the Afghan people. Afghanistan is hardly even a country. It's more of a collection of divided and feuding tribal interests. So what soldier is going to die for the idea of a country that they hardly even believe in? You can't just manufacture that in a moment or even in a decade, not even with billions of dollars at your disposal. All the economic and technological capital in the world doesn't mean anything without the human capital to make use of them. Napoleon once said, in war, morale forces are to physical as 3 to 1. And the German tactician Foch said, the final word regarding victory and defeat rests not on arms and equipment, nor the way in which they were used, nor even on the principles of strategy and tactics, but on the morale of the troops. For all the training and equipment we were able to give the Afghans, we couldn't give them this one thing. Thanks. We'll see you next time.